Why salt started wars, the simulation's most dangerous mineral. Before refrigeration, there was exactly one patch for biological entropy. Empires were built on it, wars were fought over it. Gandhi ended colonial rule by touching it. Before refrigeration, meat rotted in 3 days. Armies starved, cities couldn't be fed through winter, civilizations had a hard expiry date. The simulation had a food preservation bug. And for most of human history, there was exactly one patch. This is an object query. The object salt. The query, why did it start wars and what did it hold together while it did? Salt preserves meat by drawing moisture out of cells, making bacterial growth impossible. This is not chemistry, this is civilization infrastructure. Without salt, no army could march further than 3 days from its food supply. No city could survive winter without the ability to store meat from autumn's slaughter. Salt was not a condiment, it was the only available solution to biological entropy. The Roman army was partially paid in salt. The word salary comes from the Latin salarium, the salt allowance. When you say someone is worth their salt, you are quoting a 2,000-year-old military payroll system. Rome controlled its empire partly by controlling salt routes. The Via Salaria, the salt road, ran from the Adriatic coast into Rome. Whoever controlled that road controlled the food security of 500,000 people. This is the pattern the simulation runs with every critical resource. The resource is never the point, the control of the resource is the point. In medieval Europe, salt taxes funded wars, built cathedrals, collapsed dynasties. The French gabelle, a salt tax, ran for over 300 years. It was so aggressively enforced that smuggling salt carried the death penalty. People died smuggling flavoring for food. Except it wasn't flavoring, it was the difference between eating and not eating in February. Gandhi understood this. In 1930, he walked 240 miles to the sea to pick up salt. Not because salt was scarce. Because the British Empire had made it illegal for Indians to collect or sell salt without paying a tax to the crown. A tax on the only substance that made food last through monsoon season. Gandhi's Salt March broke the moral logic of colonial rule. He showed that the empire's control over a mineral was the same as its control over the bodies of 300 million people. The march triggered the civil disobedience movement that ended British rule in India. One man, 240 miles, a handful of salt. The simulation rarely requires dramatic weapons. It requires someone to touch the exact object that makes the system's logic visible. Salt appears in over 4,000 years of military history. The siege of Carthage in 146 BCE, Rome salted the earth so nothing would grow. The American Civil War, the Union blockaded southern salt works, collapsing Confederate food supply. The French Revolution, salt taxes were listed in the Cahiers de doléances, the grievance documents that triggered 1789. In every case the same pattern: control salt, control survival, control people. The simulation does not change the logic, it only changes the era. Salt's power collapsed in the 1880s when industrial refrigeration became available. Within 20 years, a substance that had controlled empires became a table condiment. The war stopped, the taxes ended, the salt routes became irrelevant. This is what the simulation does when a patch becomes obsolete. It renders the object invisible by making it ordinary. Salt is now so cheap it is given away free in restaurants. The same substance that Rome paid soldiers with, that Gandhi walked 240 miles for, that France executed smugglers over. Free in a paper packet next to the pepper. The simulation keeps its old patches running. It just stops making them visible. Every object you ignore solved a problem you cannot imagine needing to solve. Object query closed. Object query closed.